Greetings, I'm Ari, and what I'm about to tell you in the next few minutes is not only serious but also urgent. Just a day after analyzing the possible scenarios in Venezuela with you, you can watch the video on my channel. It's a video you shouldn't miss, where I explained that everything happening between the United States and Venezuela seemed to indicate that the Israeli Mossad was behind it, providing valuable information to the United States. Well, just a few hours ago, an official intelligence report from the Israeli Mossad came to light, which is considered one of the most effective and respected organizations in the world. This document, delivered to the Colombian armed forces, confirms what many suspected and others denied. That the Maduro regime is not simply a corrupt dictatorship, but a criminal machine with direct connections to drug trafficking, international terrorism, and a network of generals operating under the so-called Cartel of the Suns. When a report bearing the Mossad seal arrives in a country like Colombia, the message is clear. This is not about rumors or speculation. We're talking about verified evidence, exposed criminal networks, and a system that is running out of room to maneuver. The big question is, how much longer can Maduro hold on with the whole world watching what is coming to light? The most delicate part of all this is the contradiction that is being exposed. Meanwhile, Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia, insists that the Cartel of the Suns does not exist, while Mossad presents a detailed report with names, dates, and operations that show the opposite. According to the document, the Cartel of the Suns is made up of high-ranking Venezuelan military officers. Major Javier Mercano Tabata, Director of Military Counterintelligence since October 2024, is accused of using the executive branch and of being unwilling to do anything in the war. Major General Wilfredo Alexander Medrano, commander of SODI Apure, is responsible for providing logistical support to the National Liberation Army. Major General Jose Gregorio Martinez, commander of SODE Táchira, facilitator of arms movement. Major General Henry David Rodriguez, commander of SODI Zulia, responsible for coordinating drug trafficking routes, along with officers such as Lieutenant Colonel Jose Alejandro Roman, who approves weapon and explosive transfers, and Lieutenant Colonel Antonio Perez Varela, in charge of logistics and resupplying illegal groups. The report also talks about specific incidents. In the Catatumbo operations, over 80 people died and thousands were displaced. In raids carried out by the National Liberation Army but directly coordinated by the Venezuelan armed forces under the orders of Diosdado Cabello. The report that was leaked yesterday reinforces that view and increases the pressure on three fronts. First, it fuels the framework for tougher sanctions and targeted operations against high-ranking Chavista officials. Second, it opens up the possibility of internal fractures because not everyone will be willing to go down with the ship when their names are already on international lists. And third, it puts Maduro against the ropes at a very critical moment when presidential flights to San Nicaragua have been detected suspected of transporting family members, gold, and cash. He is completely chaotic. The question is whether this document or even more documents are still misplaced somewhere. And if they come to light, they could accelerate the fall of Chavismo even more. Because it's one thing to deny rumors and it's something very different to try to refute a Mossad report with names, figures, and verified evidence. There's a detail that can't go unnoticed. This Mossad report wasn't kept in a closed file or left as hallway rumors. It was delivered directly to the Colombian armed forces. It was delivered to the forces. It was. And it wasn't a casual gesture, but a clear warning. What's happening at the border, in Arauca, in Catatumbo, and throughout this entire binational corridor isn't a minor problem with local guerrillas. It's a plan sponsored from Caracas and backed by Tehran and Hezbollah. The meaning is obvious. By handing this document over to Colombia, Israeli intelligence is shifting part of the responsibility. It's saying there is the evidence, there are the names, there are the facts. What are they going to do with this information? Well, apparently they did nothing. They literally ignored it. And what is most disturbing, even infuriating, is the reaction. As this detailed information arrives, President Gustavo Petro publicly speaks out to deny the existence of the Cartel of the Suns, and to offer a kind of support to everything that is happening with the leadership of the Venezuelan narco state. With that statement, in practice, he not only downplays the threat, but also risks being aligned with those who protect that criminal network. In politics and security, silence or denial are also decisions. And when a country receives warnings of this magnitude and decides to ignore them, the cost can be extremely high. Because sooner or later, when the criminal network keeps expanding, the question will be, why didn't they act when there was still time and they had the information? In the end, this report not only exposes Maduro's regime, it also reveals the fragility of the governments in the region in the face of a threat that can no longer be hidden. And another big question is whether international pressure, combined with the internal cost of this denial, will be enough to bring about the fall of Chavismo. Well, as if this wasn't enough, listen closely, because last night another piece of information was leaked that makes things even more tense. The defense specialized portal FESANET, one of the most recognized in Brazil, revealed an alleged secret plan to rescue Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela. Amid the United States military pressure in the Caribbean, not so much. There will be details about where the information came from, but it might have the same origin. The operation would have been named Operation Imeri, and, according to the leak, it originated from a summit held in Bogota between the Brazilian Foreign Minister Mauro Vieira and his Venezuelan counterpart Ivan Gil. The objective was to design a clandestine extraction of Maduro and his closest circle to Brazilian territory. The plan included the deployment of 12 naval assets, including Niterói-class frigates, a helicopter carrier, and the ship Doca Bahia, all under the guise of a military exercise in international waters. The operation would also include a Sikh 390 aircraft ready to land, pick up the distinguished passengers, and take them directly to Brazil. But what seemed like a plan in motion fell apart due to opposition within the Brazilian armed forces themselves, according to the report. According to the Navy, even units of strategic divers refused to participate, revealing internal divisions and strong reluctance to get involved in an operation of such magnitude. The United States, for its part, was already aware of this plan, according to the leaks, and warned that if it were carried out, Brazil would face economic and diplomatic sanctions. Meanwhile, the encirclement in the Caribbean continues to grow. Today, 2 more destroyer vessels were announced to join the entire deployment that has already been carried out by the United States. Meanwhile, Venezuela announced that maritime operations are being carried out by the Venezuelan Navy in the waters of Venezuelan territory. Anyone would think it's to confront all the American warships, but that's not the case. According to what the Venezuelan authorities are saying, what are they saying? What are they saying? Not even Venezuelans have said it. And motorcycles, a servo camera. That's how it is with Rastrima, a neighboring country. Because while Trump boosts Caribbean forces, the rewards total nearly $100 million. Altogether, the circle is closing in. The options are running out, and each new leak seems to show that the end could be closer than we imagine. What we're seeing is not just another chapter in the long history of Chavismo. It may be the beginning of the end, which is very hopeful for all those Venezuelans who want a free homeland. Between the Mossad reports that expose the criminal structure of the regime, governments beginning to distance themselves, million-dollar rewards for the Chavista leadership, and even secret plans for failed rescues, it's clear that Maduro's room to maneuver is shrinking every day. The question we're all asking now is inevitable. The same questions I asked in the video yesterday are still up in the air. Will it be a sudden fall from within, a blow from international pressure, or a desperate escape by a regime that has no way out? Or will someone turn them in? Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe to this channel and remember that memberships are available with access to the private news group on WhatsApp. Don't leave without giving a like and sharing this video.